Well, hello everyone, I'm Darth Browner, and welcome to the next part of my Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations playthrough. In the previous video, Phoenix and Maya investigated more of where Glenn Elg worked, Blue Screen Inc., and upon doing so, found out about Tender Lender, a loan company, which is run by Furio Tigre, the supposed doppelganger of Phoenix Wright. Furthermore, it turns out that Furio owes money to the Cadiverinis, a mob family whose granddaughter, Viola, was injured in a hit and run by Furio. Viola is now working with Furio, and as such, things could get very interesting in the trial, so let's rock and roll. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggey. So what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well, it ended on a giant mystery. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt, that was determination. Why did I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggey. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective, don't you quit stressing Maggey out. She doesn't need that. How do you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh, thought you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't like one of the aromatherapy bottles. It's a small bottle that turned up in Trade Bond's kitchen a couple of days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles. They're aromatherapy oils. It's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. But what do you know? It doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. Before we got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears, you mean? Yes, medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so you only had time to analyse the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but it's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defence is impregnable today. Got it? Today's trial, I'm going to expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggey Bird. Defence is ready, Your Honour. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honour. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Crudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have. Huh. Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honour. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You gotta change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles. The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here, he was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well. First witness take the stand. And you are... Bonjour, everyone. John Armstrong is the owner and chef of La Tribulations restaurant in Chate. Forgive me for asking what else, but are you a woman? Ooh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am a pert and perky gentleman and all. On the daily incident, you were in Turnabout's kitchen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur? Everything feels right. Huh. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations. Oui, volontaire. We don't happen to serve just two customers in my restaurant. I remember I was expecting renting with some new art decors that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what that old man was looking at. Look up the earpiece and the glasses. It would have seen everything in reverse, no? Mirror? Oui, a grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly the mystery disappears. Like I said, the wheel keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? Bob was wearing an earpiece on the same side as Greenland's with his specs. No question, look me up if I'm wrong, it was his left ear without a doubt. So to summarise, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now if Mr. Kudo saw that as a reflection in the mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Is that a mind you'll see, monsieur? Now that you'll think about it, it is not so hard known. Unfortunately, that's where we ran into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in the mirror, why is it the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order, Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Right? You should have tasted this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase, sorry, apology, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony. Exactly. That man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddles his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. L? Clearly it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point, the old man strikes again. Mr. L's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear, do you hear? His left ear. Huh. Well tried. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Good is good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction and you found just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the call. We're all ears. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you'll look at the plans of the restaurant. Hello, is everyone sitting comfortably? La Mira, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There was only one seat from which you can have seen an image of La Victime. That was the seat at the table next to La Victime's. That was where La old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved La Mira so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up except for the guy breaking out in the cold sweat over there again. Oh, I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteer? Of course. Very well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. This piece of evidence contradicts the testimony we've heard, Your Honour. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Huh, sounds like you're describing yourself, Try. Now then, the defence would please clarify its statement. What is this something that should not exist in this photo? I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase? What possible connection does that have with the witness's testimony? Your Honour, I'm telling you that there should be no vase on this table, because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo brought the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. Yeah, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trent. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribulations that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court trial. Obviously, the witness claimed the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godo, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Ugh. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear? Huh. You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim the mirror wasn't there, Trent, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be much closer to the truth. I can feel it. You're going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction? There's more than just one. There's more than just this one contradiction, right? What do you mean? It all flies in the face of Mr. The reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Right, let's hear your answer. Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. This case is riddled with contradictions, yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what was that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. Imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there's nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Order the court settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Grams, why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trent, are you saying what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoner, all for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Get real, Trent, why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the serving guy brought him a Javachino, then she put something in it. That's the serving guy right there in the defendant's chair, I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but there was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggey Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the witness in the old man's story was a fake as well? True, there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right, well, witness. Your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics. You already know about it, correct? Oh la la, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath after all. Was there in fact a phony at Tribulations on that day? Defence demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The Rose's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oui. No, I remember that old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won la lottery, Monsieur Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. There was no time for a phony to acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Chef will demand pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Oui. For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please. You took that perjury charge a bit too well. I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. My old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip, just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're almost welcome anytime. I said it was worth a sip and nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. Out of curiosity, at what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a watch yesterday. Who's that boy calling the old man, sir? Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? Well, the incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived, so the victim must have arrived between 2 PM and 2:10 PM, no? That's off too, huh? Thank you for your... I'll be jogging my memory, monsieur. You're welcome. Wonderful. I can't just sit here all the time doing nothing now, can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur, judge, everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Well, at least one person's in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to his radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. That must be la show, monsieur. How was listening to? I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 o'clock, correct? I'm sure I remember it perfectly now. I know it's that time because I just finished serving our lunch menu. Get to the point, try it if you have one. That show broadcast live at 1:30, and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 o'clock. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. None. This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from the facts. This victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs and Tribulations that day. The real Glen Elg now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg acting out the events of Mr. Kudo to witness. Certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how would you explain his time discrepancy? Quite a performance, try you almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your soul. What is this, Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 PM. Phony Elgs performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How would you explain then where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however, at that time the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. Thank you, Trent. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. What? Now I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one customer there. That customer was a phony Glen Elg. Then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. Your theory is to stand up to examination by the court. You must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honour. No conjecture, Trent. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with this intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him at that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defence's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Glen Elg concealed? It would have to be too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulations. Interesting. Well, where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans? The exact location where the body concealed was... The body was hidden here. I see. Nice superstition. The real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was in that location? Mr. Armstrong, do you recognise this bottle? No, I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I use the very best bottles, monsieur. The ice quality only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interesting enough, Your Honour. It was found in the kitchen of Tribulations. Guay? But I only ever use these bottles whenever I have therapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? Mr. Elk visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The vents had the contents of the bottle analysed. I have the lab results here. Contents of the bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. L. Gael's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu! Yes, you know I'm about to say it was you who hid the victim's body. A fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggey Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fault behind the poor girl's back. No! That is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenelg? Never, I could never do such an horrible thing. No. Mr. Godo. Bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. It's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea of how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I take him down my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about brand new flavour in your ear? My H-deficient friend. Chef will demand a pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trouble. Listen to me. Por favor. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. Now, I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? No. Absolutely none. It's simply Let's hear it. You got one shot, right, Grams? Witness, the call from you to transfer one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godo's coffee mug awaits you, as does my gavel. Oui, it is clear. They always say in the movies. I've got a bad feeling about this. Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. It is true I hid that body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. I did not kill him. I swear it, you must believe me. You were forced? By who? I cannot say or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. L died, was he really the only person at his table? There was another man. I knew it. Maggey was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I'll break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Let's end this dance of Ring Around the Rosie, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. Where is that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, I don't know. Maybe a month ago in this very courtroom. This man is Furio Tigre. He is the manager of a loan office called Tenderlander. No point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you can go against Mr. Tigre, at least not while he had this on you. $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Oui, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong, Latiga, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On la day in question, he was meeting la victime to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to. I had no choice. I carried la body and la inconscient Maggey out of la dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can say, now safely say, that the man who forced your hand was Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Make it look like it was Maggey who had done it. I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Gerdo, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. Doubt that can be arranged, so we'll adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, try. No one knows that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial can still get out of the way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godo. We'll resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. So we're finally going to see the Tiger on the stand? We almost got this case won now, Nick. Wish I could agree, huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the Tiger told him to. But Godo picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if he testified is the truth. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but it's that line. If that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. Get the feeling we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your head's standing on end. Hey, that's calling the black this little top knot. It's not a top knot. Never mind about the head, just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I can't get wound up. Ah, no kidding. That's something you need me to do, pal, anything. Well, I'm going to take a jog down to the precinct. I'll get some Prince alloys for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence. True, without some kind of trump card to pull out the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me?
Take that!
If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh wait, that's the small bottle I gave back to you in the morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solved the last mystery of the prints who they belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's what you're nodding at me too. Okay, I'll get this to the lab right away. Make sure you don't lose the case before we get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. Cool, why not reconvene, Mr. Godo? Did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a free cub job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful, he still bites. Very well, please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please say your name and occupation. Don't hide under the table, Maya, unless there is room for me down there too. Would you mind? What'd you say to me? Nothing, I didn't say nothing, honest. You could guess that the fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge. I've got business to take care of, you hear me? Who the hell called me into this hole? Were you, Spikey? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honour? Yeah, I actually just dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it, we're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout, we can all hear you. What'd you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. Relentless snare of the law. I'm the one that hauled you in. Too cool. Don't they get the better of you, Nick? Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know what's nothing about no stinking incident, mass boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial, Maggey Bird? Maggey, I've got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course, well, perhaps you could give us your testimony now. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix right. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. You want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. Alright, last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination. Well, what is it, please? Witness, if you can refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. The lowlife ain't no lawyer, he just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife, May? Listen up, Smiley. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you's gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one known contract I refuse to sign. Don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. Huh. I love a good spectator spot. Just a minute, that's really not... This witness is... How can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well, I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You'd better be listening, I've still got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini? She writes everything in my schedule. December mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was. Seems like a rather sketchy schedule. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder, so now what? Mr. Tigre, what do you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail. This is a dead-end trial and you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi correctly. I agree. The victim was killed on December the 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe ways ain't listen. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. But I'd never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Goder, if you could please. Mr. Tigre, the court asked to add that last statement to your testimony. Don't let an animal beat you. Being a man, you're on it and asking yourself. Do you used to talk about I was in the office? No, I saw that kid before. Mr. Tigre, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenelg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger, and the date? December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigre, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenelg, because on the day of the incident you met with him. Ah, not bad, you's actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with you, see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I could do without, plus he's lying through his teeth. Right, witness, please remember you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. Just calling me a lie, is that what you're doing? Oh. So you're saying that your claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth? So I'm dead serious, you better believe that's the truth. Huh. And I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is why you testify for the court again, Mr. T-Bray. Well, yes, sir, would you mind indulging the court witness? He never actually met the victim. That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. I ain't no lie, no Glenelg. There was some lame guy with that name though. Wanted to borrow cash from me, so I'm meeting with the guy, my office tender lender. Wait around for him, but he ain't ever showed. Ain't never even been to that Tribulations joint. Yeah? I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. Didn't I tell you I've got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now, I'm gonna have to take the express train. Bills go straight to you, right?
Objection!
Mr. T-Ray, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. What? Have you really never been to Tribulations before? What was the book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy? Why, you my ball and chain? Ain't no brook controlling me. Order, well witness. I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry, forgive me. I ain't no pussy, I'll go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met the kid. Well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenelg that day, and he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was lied out over the tip, stiff as concrete. Figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. Heard the cop sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. I see, you didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honour. Hold it. Wait around here any longer. Make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Huh. No problem. Anytime Triumph presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see pays a penalty. Mr. Goder, that's my job. Your job is to summon that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir, the special express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you's paying. Oh man, does the rule don't mean anything around here anymore?
Objection!
You're something of a lone collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigray? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. No one escapes the phoenix clutches. I think so. We got something straight. What's this, Tripe? A new line of irrelevant questioning. These are the floor plans to the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigray. From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true. Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision is any customer walking in ends here. So from the entrance of Trade Bond, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him. Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defence just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenn Elg, but a fake. What? Nor does Mr. Kudo falsely testify. The real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenn Elg and then impersonated the victim in a performance of Victor Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? That's cute. He's thinking pin this on the tiger. Maybe you don't understand. Tiger's killed us. I dare you to say it. Go on, you got the guts. You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defence. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright! Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, don't leave me to handle this alone. Ha! How's that gonna end this embarrassment? Mr. Godo? Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. Your man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no, 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 no. Serving girl brought me in a Javachino and she put something in it. No question about it, she was very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. Fact remains he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the worst but saw. Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Huh. Found your pen at last, Tripe. It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. Saw the victim as opposed to Mr. Glenelg and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible for the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? Defendant Miss Bird fell unconscious immediately after the incident, and someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tenderlender. He's making a big mistake. Do you know who Violeta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armoured truck tonight if you know what I mean. Stop shaking there. Where was I? Yes, defendant Miss Bird had stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, sure there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. She had a kind of cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show you supposedly listened to half an hour after it was over. There is only one logical explanation that clears up all these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, one for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. That's cute. Sorry? He's alright, I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to a meeting now, but I'll give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You got it all wrapped up nice, right? But you've missed out one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day. Oh, I met the kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, he's here. What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Huh. What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're gonna need another one for the road. One more steam and cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Wait, actually, explain yourself to the court. I'll give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between you and the victim? Yeah, I loaned out cash, about $100,000. That day we were due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000. He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. Now I see the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Ogg was $50,000. Yeah, well, you've got the VIG to take into account. Interest bills are fast, you know. It's fast and fast. $100,000 is twice its principal. And the repayment deadline was December the 3rd, day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. Got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. Motive. He has to have one, but what is it? The waitress, you mean? Girl with the glass of defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? She hadn't got in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are you all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back, that's all. A businessman. It's all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you'll amend your testimony to reflect what you just said. Tiger's motive. I was after $100,000. I didn't have no reason to kill the guy.
Objection!
So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Algo owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Algo, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after. What are you getting at, Tri? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Well, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. Warriors are computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber. A computer virus? What does one of those do? A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? Guess the beard is the new part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay money is crucial. What? Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg had put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of the program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but by no means an idiot, trying. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided he had time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. Seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigray need money to the tune of $1 million?
Take that!
In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this do you know? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million is a preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs. Huh, no one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigray had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. All that you say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright. Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? Makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigray's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glenn Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigray knew it. But then a miracle happened. Kind that Mr. Tigray would prefer to say never happened, but he can't and neither can I. The lottery win? Exactly at the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigray with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glenn Elg and then made his next move, to frame Maggey Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigray posed as Glenn Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Like I said, right, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godo? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000 in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigray's plan. Order, silence or I'll clear it. You've put a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You say I dressed up like that kid, created a witness and framed someone. If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. If I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? So be careful. That's why he took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. What? Another one, Mr. Wright? Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Tribe? What was this trick you say Mr. G-Ray performed to frame the accused? What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honour. Mr. T. Gray, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness is nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, studying here this very court a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright puts up the most disreputable, shabby defence I've ever seen. Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take a stand and testify it was him? Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? Over someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, right here in court, we deal with people's lives. Mr. Godo is right, Your Honour. Speaking for myself, I'm absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as a judge, with the vested power to hand on a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by memory without evidence to support it. No! If the defence has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. Circumstances surrounding Mr. T. Gray are dubious for sure, not conclusive. But we come so far. You say impersonated Glenelg, you say impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Huh. Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the toilet. You ain't mold. You got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit, but I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Huh. That's how I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence, and maybe I can get Maggey off the hook. This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. T. Gray. Your Honour, sir. Wait. Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. We staked everything on this, my badge, the works. Here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, Detective? Is it obvious, pal? It's the final, decisive piece of evidence. What? Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results back from the lab. The results? Bet the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so do you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of act detective? Of course I know. So tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. Heh. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio T. Gray's paw prints, alright. That's great, we got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You haven't filed these sort of words since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know, look, I'm sorry, this is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on the bottle now. What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage of the trial is irrefutable evidence the tiger put poison in Glenelg's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle really doesn't make any difference now. We knew it. Great, no matter how I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. For our last chance to help Maggey, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. Alright, I'm a real loser. I'm not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggey? You been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggey. I knew you didn't do it. I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. Really sorry, I'll get you out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Is there anything we can do now, Nick? Wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was somewhere I could use it. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. I grant you a recess so you can prepare this decisive evidence you discovered. Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, right? Try and show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more time are you gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before. The used lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. Really backed into a corner here. Maybe he thinks he's got me beat. He'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive piece of evidence to the court. This is the defence's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victims? Your Honour? Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. T-Ray. What? But Mr. Wright, what conclusion you home to draw from this new information? Everyone here knows what this bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom that should theoretically be in the dark. My prints were on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. T. Gray, this is a decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains... This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? Poison used to murder Mr. L, Your Honour. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. T. Gray found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? You ain't never gonna get this to stick. You're just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? Bluff? I see straight through your feelings, right? Ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it? No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the title, you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. The cheap piece of trash? Don't look nothing like it. Got him. At last. What? Why is everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But you ain't gonna find my prints in that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell him that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. It really had nothing to do with the murder. You shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You don't know who you're messing with. I'm the tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped up suit get the better of me? Sure. The last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer, It was all played up by you, the biggest phony of all. Vrr. What's going on? It looks like a blackout. Well done, Tripe. I'll save my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigray, Mr. Grader? He is being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Mr. Glenelg, Your Honour. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defence attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigray is a truly frightening criminal. Huh. The truly frightening one is that defence attorney over there. Go down. Well, I'm now in a position to lower my verdict. The court finds defendant Maggey Bird that is all. This court is adjourned. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggey. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. Now I feel I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggey. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Well, I guess I'll be going to see you, pal. Wait. Detective Gumshoe. Congratulations, Maggey. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Huh? Oh, I was... Well, I guess I'll be seeing you. See you later. Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggey, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt off for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. It wasn't even of any use, but... It's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. It's like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can you put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Myra's right. I should help Gumshoe out. He's clear he needs it. Maggey, you know Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you for all this. I wanted to believe that, sir, but on that first day of the trial, I practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggey. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. I've got to prove that Gumshoe really cares, but I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Here you are, a present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present for Detective Gumshoe made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like weenies, you know. Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So how is it, Maggey? It's really good. So the case of phony rules has ended. The false allegations surrounding Maggey have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. Wow, what a case that was! That brings us to the end of today's video, where the next video we're going to be starting the Turnabout beginnings. You don't want to miss this. This has been Darth Browner. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next video. Ciao for now, everyone. Bye.